woke up this morning and I interacted with a number of different inanimate objects. My alarm clock first, and the shower head, then my car, the stereo, and I can't help but think how true it is. A quote by Russell Baker: "Inanimate objects are classified scientifically into three categories: those that don't work, those that break down, and those that get lost." And I think that each of these are particularly true in that everything can be classified as such. And as technology grows, everything gets a little bit further refined into one of these categories. The first example, things that don't work. I know that all of you have smartphones or iPads or whatever, and somehow, some way, that thing's going to not work or not do something that you wanted to do some point in your life. Well, that's the first example, something that doesn't work. Technology, as it continues to get more complex, has an increasing chance of just failing. The second example, those that break down. I'm sure everyone has experienced this at least once in their life, if not once this semester. As you get into your car, you turn the key, and something goes wrong. It could either start clicking, or it could do something that makes you think it's going to blow up. Cars inevitably are going to break down. That's their nature. And I think they perfectly show the example of things that break down. And finally, things that get lost. I know that I personally had to go looking for at least 4 things before I headed out the door: my phone, my wallet, my watch, my keys. And each of these things, as our possessions start to get smaller and more plentiful, they have an increasing chance of just getting lost. So I hope that you agree with me and with Mr. Baker that things can, in fact, be scientifically classified into 3 things: those that get lost, those that break down, and those that don't work. Thank you.
I hate that.
All right, Mike, you've got a good example here of a speech that works despite the fact that it's not much longer than a lot of the other speeches that we had that had problems, because you just stick to some pretty basic things. Here's this point I'm trying to make. I'm going to have a couple of examples. I'm going to talk about them as we go through, keep it organized. At the end, I'm going to remind you the point I'm trying to make, and then you finish fairly gracefully. If you can do that, even if the content is a little sketchy, it still feels like you've said something rather than wandering around on the topic. And I think that you did a good job on that. I think the best point that got the more interesting development was on the third point with some personal experience, and how the things that you were looking for, and you mentioned the 4 particulars that you had to look for this morning, how easy it is for them to get lost. I think on the first point, it's kind of all hypothetical in nature, and it would be a more interesting story if you had an example that you could talk about sometime, for instance, when your cell phone didn't work or you couldn't get access, or it rang at the wrong time, or something that it does that's really problematic. The second point's also a little bit hypothetical, but each of them works reasonably well for the point that you're trying to make, and that's fine. The delivery issues, you had your kind of thumbs hooked into your pants at one point right at the beginning, but you got away from that, and then your gestures were really involved, and you seemed to be talking to us. I thought you engaged us the whole time that you were up there. speaking to the audience, and that you seemed involved in what you were talking about. The transitions between the supporting points were relatively clear, so nothing problematic that I noticed in any of the presentation issues. All right, thank you.